Okay, we're going to continue this thought process. We're going to ignore this monitoring progress number 4. But one thing you need to know, some vocab, it says raising each side of the equation to the same exponent may introduce solutions that are not solutions. Okay, this means that if you were to plug it back in, you don't get the right answer. Okay, it doesn't work. You don't get 2 equals 2. Okay, these solutions are called extraneous solutions, and you should always check to make sure that it works, because these mean that that you get an answer, but the answer doesn't work for the original equation. So it says solving the equation with extraneous solutions. So we're looking at this. If you have, first step says get the root by itself. Well, the root already is by itself. So then it says raise each side to the power. So we're going to have x plus 1 squared equals the root of 7x plus 15 squared. And this is where you have to be careful. This means x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. Okay, when something's squared, that means that you have to multiply it by itself. So when we multiply this, I don't remember how you've learned how to. You may have learned a couple different ways, but x times x is x squared, x times 1 is x, 1 times x is x, and 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, and I'm going to combine terms. And if you notice, you have an x squared and an x in this problem. And when you see that, you should go, oh my gosh, I have to factor. So I'm going to move everything over to one side. And I get x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. And then you need to remember how to factor. So in order to factor this, I would say what two numbers multiply to negative 14 and add to negative 5? And I get x minus 7 and x plus 2. So then I would say I would take each of those factors and set it equal to 0. That's how we solve by factoring. You learned it last year. We've done it a little bit this year. Okay, I add 7. I get x equals 7 and x equals negative 2. Now I'm going to check these answers. Okay, I'm going to check. So when I do it, the first one I check, okay, my original equation is x plus 1 equals the square root of 7x plus 15. So if I plug 7 in, I get 7 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times 7 plus 15. Well, 7 plus 1 is 8. And then I get 7 times 7 is 49 plus 15. And I get 8 equals the square root. I add those together, I get 64, which is 8 equals 8. So that means that this is a solution, okay? If I do the same thing with negative 2, I get negative 2 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times negative 2 plus 15. And I get negative 1 equals the square root of negative 14 plus 15. Or negative 1 equals the square root of 1. And the square root of 1 is 1. So I get negative 1 equals 1. That is not true. So that means that this is not a solution, it's an extraneous solution. Okay, so that's why checking your work is super duper important, okay? This next example, I'm not going to give you problems like that because they turn out really, really messy. When you have a radical on both sides and a plus, so like this number 7. Okay, pause the video if you want to, but I'm going to go through these monitoring progress ones just so you can see them. Okay, these go through where you have to square both sides or cube both sides, but and they take kind of a lot of work. So get ready. Pause it if you want to try it on your own. If not, hang in there with me. So this first one, notice that it's a square root. So if I square both sides, I'm going to have 10x plus 9 equals x plus 3 times x plus 3. And when I multiply that out, I get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, or x squared plus 6x plus 9, okay? And I have an x squared and an x, so I know I'm going to have to move everything over. So I'm going to minus the 10x and minus the 9, and I get x squared minus 4x. okay, equals 0, because I've moved everything over. And then I'm going to solve by factoring. And factoring, you go, oh my gosh, this has two things. Maybe it has a GCF, and it does. So I'm going to take an x out, because they both have an x, and I'm left with x minus 4. So my answers are x equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0, or x equals 4. Those are possible answers, but I need to plug them back in and check. Okay, when you plug in 0, you end up getting 0 plus 9. You get 3 on one side and 3 on the other. So that one is a solution. When you get 4, you get 7 and 7. So that's a solution. And if you need me to go through that, ask me to. But both of those are solutions. Okay. And then number 6, we do the same thing. These ones are nice because when you have the roots on both sides, they're both square roots. So I'm going to square them both, and I get 2x plus 5 equals x plus 7. I'm going to move the x over. I get x plus 5 equals 7 minus 5, and I get x equals 2. And I'm going to plug it back in to make sure it works. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9, so I get the square root of 9 on one side, and 2 plus 7 is 9. I get the square root of 9 on the other side. Okay? There's one more video. Take a second, take a break, go get a snack if you need to, and then let's finish.